Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylists podcast, where we talk all about interiors with interviews with interior stylists, writers and the big names within the interiors industry, from brands and PRs to artists and designers. I also catch up with industry experts and ask them to share all their knowledge and advice. There's so much to talk about. I'm your host, Emma Morton-Turner, but you can call me Emma MT. I'm an interior stylist and a writer with a ton of experience. I'm not going to tell you how much. That will show my age. I set up InsideStylist.com so I could share all the interiors love with you. So don't forget to head on over to the website to check out not only the show notes from today's episode, but for links to interior stylists, writers and assistants' profiles and a ton of inspiration. But for now, enjoy the show. Today's guest is Jen Stanbrook, who I have been talking to online for absolutely years. But we were very lucky to meet in person at a press lunch at the end of last year. And I kind of thought, this is my opportunity to ask her to be on the podcast. I kind of dropped it into conversation. And she said she would love to be on the podcast. She was very enthusiastic about it, actually. And I was so chuffed because I was like, she's a proper expert. And then lockdown happened. And this wasn't quite how I'd planned to have Jen on, but she was so generous with her time. I invited experts into my interior stylists Facebook group to share their knowledge because members really wanted to do something productive with their time. They had lots of questions about Pinterest. It made perfect sense to ask Jen to be my expert. And she came on, and this was during week 1 of lockdown. And it's so interesting listening to this now, looking back, because, you know, hindsight and all that. You can hear how unknown the future was, and we just didn't know what to expect, and how we were just trying to think positively and make the most of the time. But it is quite a glitchy recording. I didn't know then what I know now about how to link up Zoom calls and have 2 people on a Facebook Live. At the time, I was using all sorts of funny little apps, and the quality is nowhere near as good as I would like. But you can understand us. We just kind of sound like aliens a little bit. So if you could just bear with me. The other thing is I've had to edit out all those kind of glitchy noises, but also at the time, Jen was very gracious with her time. She was doing lots of one-to-one courses. She was doing, you know, we all lost our work immediately and had no idea when we would be back shooting and writing features and things. And she really understood that was the case and reduced all her prices. And I had to kind of edit that out because that was in March. But I asked her about anything she had coming up, and her timing could not have been better because she's got a really fabulous challenge coming in January. So I am sharing that with you now because obviously this was a recording from March. She is doing a 5-day Pinterest challenge. If you would like to sign up to it, now the moment she told me, I signed up immediately. You can go to her website, which is jenstanbrook.com/pin challenge. The link is in the show notes, both on the website and in your app. If you scroll down into the show notes on your app, you'll be able to find the link there too. So I would definitely encourage you to go sign up because Jen is an absolute expert. Anyway, here is the recording from March. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding. Tech is a nightmare at the best of times.
I had a nightmare morning with tech. It's been awful.
How are you?
The world is using the internet right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's brilliant. The more I think about Pinterest, the more I think it's really relevant to us. But we don't really talk about things like this very often. I mentioned to you that I did a podcast at some point last year because someone mentioned it on a podcast I was listening to. And usually that's enough to make me go, oh, I need to look at this. How can this benefit stylists? So I went on this really big deep dive, but it was just, there's so much to it. And I was like, I'm just going to touch the surface. But you have been doing Pinterest for years, haven't you?
Yes, I've been using it for, 7 years or something. So back in the day when you needed an email invite and you had to wait to get on it. Been using it since then, early adopter in the UK, and using it for my blog because I'm a blogger in interiors. Then people started asking me to explain how I was doing it, how was I getting all this traffic, how was I getting all these people seeing my content. And so about 3 years ago, I wrote a course on it essentially. But that's it's evolved into so much more, and mostly what I do now is live workshops like this, live one-to-ones, live group sessions, mini live courses, face-to-face workshops, so all that kind of thing, just helping businesses, bloggers, small businesses, entrepreneurs, social media managers use it as that marketing tool for their business.
What I found was that it's a very interesting way to promote things, but as a stylist, so I kind of see what I do, and what the main majority of this group are interior stylists, interior writers, sure, assistants. There's some influencers in there, and there's some interior designers in there. But I'd say probably 90% are working on commercial photo shoots, editorial photo shoots, and features. And it's very much a business to business kind of setup. So. Sure. With that in mind, I always think if you have a blog, Pinterest is great for promoting what you do and getting eyes on your website, essentially. But as a someone who works business to business as it's such, how can you use Pinterest to promote yourself in that respect? Is it kind of about pushing to your profile page so the right people are seeing it?
Yes. So the whole point of any kind of content creator using Pinterest is to drive people back through to another platform. So Pinterest is not social media. You probably know that. It's not social media at all. You don't have to follow people, connect with people, talk to people, make a community. You don't have to do any of that. Yeah, that's why I love it so much. So it really is about putting the right content out there to bring people to a landing page or a web page, a blog page, whatever it might be. Okay. So in terms of kind of building away, well, in terms of doing business to business, you just need to make sure that the content you put out there and the messaging on that content is directed at your perfect audience. And so whether that's to, somebody who's going to buy your product in the UK, or whether you want businesses across the world to see you, it's about getting the messaging right on the content you put out on Pinterest.
Yeah, so being seen by editors and PRs and brands that are looking for people to push their product, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. And so especially as stylists, I'm assuming that many of you will have some kind of website that says who you are and what you do. That's where we want to be bringing people to look at when they're trying to find the right kind of stylist for their job.
Yeah, so from me, Inside Stylist, it's a platform for promoting interiors and promoting all the members on the website. So it's quite easy for me to push people's Pinterest or people's profiles out on Pinterest to get awareness of what we do and what this particular stylist is a specialist in colour or minimalism or recycling.
Perfect, yeah.
So it's very easy. And then if I was being myself on my own, I would be promoting myself as a stylist who can do craft. I can write features. So I'm putting it out there. So you're getting to be seen by all of the right people. You're getting to be seen by a lot of people. And I think there's an element of where we are kind of commercial and editorial stylists and writers. We also do have influence with the Instagram and the Facebook groups. Yeah. And everywhere on social media. So it's quite, actually, I've got a question that I've been sent at the end, but I'm going to bring it right in here. So a lot of people push their Instagram to Pinterest to push people back to their Instagram to raise their following. So that's actually a really good way for people to get more eyes on their styling career, essentially. Mm. Is that something that you recommend people do, like for Instagram, pushing Instagram posts to Pinterest or vice versa?
If you're going to do that, no, you would pull through Instagram onto Pinterest. If you're going to do that, there's a couple of things that you have to kind of be aware of. When you set up your Pinterest account, you have to claim a website, or you have to claim your Instagram. So you have to make sure you've done that. Okay. If you do that, that's fine. I mean, I'm not a big fan of promoting Instagram through Pinterest. I don't do it myself, and I don't kind of say that clients should do it particularly. But if you haven't got a website and it's your only means of promoting yourself, and I completely get that. Just make sure you've claimed your Instagram account through Pinterest. And this is really important, this next fact, right? Pinterest needs to see the right size images. So what I don't want you doing is just sharing what you've put on Instagram and pushing it through automatically to Pinterest. You must be taking Pinterest as your priority and saying, right, what kind of content should I be putting out there? I need to be the right sized image. Okay, so you need to resize the image. Ideally, I want you to create a pinnable image on something like Canva or Photoshop. And then I want you to connect it back to your Instagram post in specifically, right? And add a Pinterest specific description. Don't pull through the Instagram description and the hashtags, etc. You need to make it specific to Pinterest. So that's what I would say. If you really have to use Instagram and pull it through, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, I think that with social media in general, you shouldn't put one post out to everyone on the same day with the same image, the same, because from what I've been taught, if you use an Instagram picture and then share it to Facebook, the audiences might be the same, but also if they're not, then a Facebook picture, sorry, I'm going off topic a little bit, but if you use a Facebook picture that's just come from Instagram and you've got all the hashtags in, that's not aimed at that market, and that market will go, you know, the people really
it's absolutely 100% with Pinterest. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's all wrong on all kinds of levels, and predominantly the image is going to look like this. It's going to be square, and we need long and tall for Pinterest. Okay.
The question that's come up quite a lot is strategy. How do you kind of, what strategy would you recommend people use to kind of make the most of Pinterest?
Okay. Well, I don't want anyone to panic when I say this. Okay. So the ideal strategy at the moment is about 10 pins a day. All right. And the split, lots of you will know this, the split is 80-20, right? 80% of your own content, your own pins, leading back to a claimed website or Instagram. So you're going to go, oh, where am I going to get eight pins a day? Well, each pin can be saved to up to 10 boards, for example. Okay, just don't save them all in one go. They go out with little intervals of like 3 or 4 days. There's a massive push right now and a big focus on fresh pins. So what Pinterest doesn't want to see is lots of repins of your content going to the same board. So if you shared it once, don't share it again to the same board. It can go to another board, but not the same board. That's really important right now. So yeah, that would be your strategy. So let me just clarify, because this is like obviously throwing a lot of people right now. A fresh pin is an image linked to a URL or a web page or a blog post or whatever it might be. And that combination of two things makes a fresh pin. And you can then save that to sort of 10 different boards. Right. To make your next fresh pin, you change out the image. You can change out the URL as well, but you could keep the same URL and bring in a different image. Okay, so as long as that image is changed up, it can be a different template. We have a big thing on templates right now, so it's really important to have lots of different images or templates for the same URL, and especially if you've got, say, only, you're limited by the number of landing pages you have. Maybe you don't have lots of different web pages on your stylist website. So it's really important that you have lots of different templates that link up to the same URL. So that's going to be really important right now, and create all those different fresh pins.
good to point out. Canva, when it comes into what you want to create, if you put in Pinterest image, it will come up with templates for you to just add an image on and because you do 10 of the same, you can do 10 posts, 10 individual images in one go, and they've got the template and the sizing and everything done. So templates on Canva, they do it for everything. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So there's a Pinterest pin template on Canva, which is the right size, the right shape, and you can make an image there. But what you want are multiple of those that all look slightly different. So if you were to go and look at my Pinterest account, you'll see lots of different styles of images, and they've all got text on them. Text is really important, actually. You guys will have lots of beautiful imagery, but what will happen is people will save them to their boards and they won't necessarily click on them. And that's the big thing. That's the main thing that we're trying to do right now, is get people to click on the pins and come and visit our website so they find out more about us.
So the strategy is to pin 10 a day, 8 of your own, 2 of somebody else's that you are liking. And can they be anything? Do they need to be?
Yes, they can be anything. Yeah.
So they can be recipes, even if you're doing interiors and whatever.
Well, they could be, but obviously they're going to need to go to some of your boards. So really your boards need to be about your business and your brand and who you are, and maybe not, your kids' tea. Or knitting recipes or something. Knitting packs, I mean.
But talking of boards, they have to be about your business, so about styling. So we could do them for different shoots we've done. We could do behind the scenes. We could do living room, bedroom, bathroom, all of that sort of thing that relates to interiors, because we're obviously all interiors. Does it matter the order that they go in?
It matters. No, it doesn't matter that one bit. But what does matter is the type of board you create. And I'd suggest some of those that you mentioned won't be perfect at all. So remember, nobody's going to go and look at your boards. This is a search engine, right? We are all about getting the SEO correct. We're all about getting the search right, because a pinner is not thinking, oh, I'd like to see a behind the scenes of a particular stylist shoot. They're thinking, what skills does that stylist have? Are they of a particular style? Maybe I'm looking for someone who's an expert in contemporary styling for kitchens. I don't know, I'm making this up. But think about what your end user, your business client, is going to be looking for from you, and what could they be searching for? If they are looking for an expert in contemporary styled kitchens, then you need a board that is called contemporary, you need boards called kitchens, and you need a board called contemporary kitchens. And that's a place where, those are all places where you're going to save your styled kitchen imagery into those boards, and all of those pins are going to be linked back to your website.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what order you're ordering.
Oh gosh, no, not at all.
They have the right content. So another thing is about the description and keywords. How do you make them, what do you need to do to make them the best they can be? So, because that's what you were just saying was SEO, is search engine optimization. I'm sure most people know that, but that is what Google will pick up, or Pinterest will pick up, to direct you to a specific post. And if you have the right keywords into a post, you're going to find that, or people are going to find your posts over someone else's. So how do you do that to make the most of each of your pins and your boards?
Okay, so your pins all need to have that good description packed full of keywords and a few hashtags. To find your keywords, you need to, you need to go onto Pinterest and have a little search and have a little play and see what keywords come up. When you use Pinterest, you get all the little search boxes. Those little boxes will help you pull together the right kind of description. If you include some of those search terms in your description, then you're getting what people are searching for, and you're putting it into your pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hashtags, you can only use 20.
You can use 20. Don't ever use 20. Really only use 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
Right. And they need to be very high level, nothing too detailed, nothing like Instagram. There's nothing fun or quirky or kooky going on here on Pinterest. Interior styling, kitchen styling, whatever it might be.
I think hashtags put people off a little bit. So that's kind of...
I mean, if you're not sure, just don't use them, really.
Do the hashtags help people find you? Is it part of
Yeah, they can.
That is, but
Yes.
it's not as important. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Something that has come up quite a lot in conversations and behind the scenes when I asked the questions yesterday is about repinning pictures, and we are all very aware of the copyright issues of
Sure.
Do we have copyright? Basically, if we've styled a shoot for Ideal Home, can we then pin that image? We don't own the copyright. And further down the line, if someone writes a blog post, like Kate Watson-Smythe will quite often do a blog post on 10 great kitchens, and she will link back to the original source. But on Pinterest, you get lost. You go down a rabbit hole and someone's pinned it, who's pinned it, and you don't know where the original source is. Can you talk a little bit about that and how to kind of navigate
Sure. Okay, so remember our strategy is 8 pins of our own, 2 pins from other people. So you need to remember that when you do pin something from Ideal Home or wherever that's not on your website, that counts as one of those 2 pins, extra pins a day. So as long as you can pin it, that's fine. You pin it onto your account, it's going to link back to, say, Kate's blog, yeah, or the Ideal Homes blog. Yeah. That's not a problem at all. Right, there's no copyright issue there at all. You've just pinned it, and that's fine because it doesn't link back to your website, it links back to theirs. So you're not taking that imagery and claiming it as your own. That's where we get into all of the copyright issues. If you were to take a pin and make it your own and link it back to your website to promote your own content, that's definitely not allowed. Obviously, that gets into the whole issues of, copyright. But anything you repin from within Pinterest is fine. And if you pin something from a website, that's fine too. If they've got a pin it button on there, then that's fine.
So basically, it's just, I heard about people getting into trouble for putting things on their blog posts, but I assume that that's probably that they weren't crediting the original source or a source at all. It's that they're leading people to believe that it was their content or their image, or just not crediting anybody.
Well, obviously crediting, yes, but equally that doesn't automatically give you the right to use the image. You have to be using an image that's copyright free, or you have written permission to use. Now, the images Kate's using are press images, like I would use on my interior blog. There'll be press images where we're allowed to use them if we've got a link. Okay, but if you take an image off Google or somewhere and you don't link it, or it isn't set up to be used with copyright, then obviously you are getting into hot water then. I mean, I've been sued myself. I've been blogging for nearly 10 years. And so back in the day, we didn't really take much notice. And I know that there are other people around in interiors, influencers, in bloggers who have been approached to be sued as well for using imagery. So you do have to be really, really careful. But I would say in terms of pinning, all you have to worry about is whether you are using an image that's not yours and then you go and link it back to your website. Don't ever do that and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's clear that up. We kind of have covered business, and we've covered pretty much everything actually. I haven't actually shared where people can find you. You are jenstanbrook.com, which is really good, and Jen Stanbrook on Instagram. So that's really easy to remember. So I think we've answered all of these questions. I might just hop on over while
There's a couple of questions I can see. Shall I answer them?
I can't see them. I was just going to click over and have a little look. But I'm now looking at Facebook whilst talking on an app.
So I can see a question here. It says, I've claimed my Instagram, but not sure how to add my own pics. So if you've claimed your Instagram, that's great. If you add your pictures, you would make a pinnable image or a pin image in something like Canva using the templates we talked about, then upload it to Pinterest. And when you upload it, it gives you the option to add the URL. And then you would add the URL of your Instagram post, if that's where you want to point it to, okay? And it says, what are rich pins? So rich pins is a type of pin where Pinterest gives it lots more information. If you're a business selling products, for example, it can give dynamic pricing. If you've written blog posts and you have blog content, it can give you a bit more information, pulls it from the website that you've claimed. So there's a bit of tech stuff that has to go on to set it up, but you only set it up once and then all your pins will be rich. Okay. There's another question. I started a board for my work, added in my portfolio images, and then put my URL as the website. Is that correct? Well, it's very much part of the way there, absolutely. There's a lot more to it. You would want to share those images a lot more. You would want to have some text on them. They would not necessarily want to lead back to the home page. You want them to lead back to individual pages on your website to vary it up a little bit. But absolutely, you're getting the idea, definitely. And I'd say go out there and use it and experiment, try and pin every day, create lots of different images using different templates.
You run courses all the time, don't you? You do coaching and courses and all sorts of Pinterest things all the time. And is it not just Pinterest? You do like online business.
I mean, I've been running an online business for 9 years. And so, you build up a huge skill set. So I can use everything online and tech and sell and pricing and setting up courses and selling workshops. Or if a stylist, you're creating content and you want to get it out there to people now, and you sort of say, we're all pivoting, we're all trying to be creative, and we are creative people. That's something I can help with too. And I have been doing lots of free sessions with people, just helping them to kind of get their business up and running online a little bit quicker and faster and easily. So it's been busy. But yeah, there's lots going on and that I can help with. So do get in touch. You can Instagram DM me or message me on Facebook, email me, whatever. I'm trying to react, as well as keep my own business afloat, of course.
Family at home too.
Yeah, I've got everyone at home. The husband is home working now. My eldest daughter has just had her GCSEs cancelled.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. And my younger teen is here. So it's a house full, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I can see a couple more questions.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I've got one pin that has over 5,000 impressions, but others barely get to 1,000. Why would this be? Okay, the impressions thing and the whole, that figure we see on Pinterest underneath our name, our monthly unique views, I would encourage you to not take any notice of it. Because impressions is fine, but what we want is clicks. And so it's really much more about identifying what traffic we're getting. The impressions go up and down, and it's exactly the same for me. I get lots on one pin and then not so much on another. So don't worry about that too much. Don't understand all of that. I think with the month, many of us don't understand it, and Pinterest changes it a lot. So those impressions, those MUVs, try and ignore them if you can. I know it's hard because it's right there and it's what we can all see, but they're not as important as you think. And it is much more about getting that strategy right, getting the traffic through to your websites.
So I think that's probably a good way to stop. Jen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I feel honoured. I'm going to try and turn this into a podcast if I can get the sound quality good enough, because I think there's so much valuable content in there, and you've answered questions that people have got specific questions for this kind of community, us interior people. So really, really appreciate your time. Thank you for your patience with the tech issues at the beginning.
We all need to be patient with tech right now.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You can find all the details from today's episode over in the show notes on insidestylist.com. If you enjoyed the show, I'd love it if you would head on over to iTunes and rate and review it. It's the best way to help other people find the show, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, bye for now.